Have you ever experienced that strange sensation when suddenly, in the quiet of the night, someone's face appears in your mind whom you haven't seen or heard from in years? You lie down, close your eyes, and out of nowhere emerges that vivid memory, so real you can almost feel their presence. The next day you receive a phone call, a message, news that leaves you stunned. That person has just passed away, or someone in their family has departed from this world. If this has happened to you, you're not alone, and it's definitely not a coincidence. There's something much deeper operating in these experiences than what our rational mind can initially comprehend. Before we continue exploring this extraordinary phenomenon, if this content resonates with you and you want to discover more about the mysteries of the spiritual world that surrounds us, I invite you to subscribe to this channel, where we share knowledge that can transform your perception of reality. The renowned Swiss psychologist Carl Gustav Jung, who dedicated much of his life to studying what he called the collective unconscious, documented numerous cases of what he termed meaningful synchronicities. Jung, who passed away in 1961, firmly believed that these experiences weren't mere coincidences, but manifestations of a profound connection that transcends time and physical space. According to Jung, there exists a level of consciousness that goes beyond the individual, an energetic field where all souls are interconnected. This field knows no limitations of linear time nor barriers of physical distance. When someone is about to make their transition to the spiritual world, they send out energetic waves that can be picked up by those people with whom they've shared significant bonds, regardless of how much time has passed since the last contact. Think about this. The universe is composed of energy in constant motion. Everything is vibrating at different frequencies, including our souls. When two people have shared important moments, have laughed together, cried together, or simply been present during crucial moments in their lives, an invisible energetic thread is created that connects them forever. This connection doesn't fade with time, nor weaken with distance. It remains dormant, like a radio tuned to a specific frequency. Most of the time, this radio is silent, but in special moments, especially when someone is about to cross the threshold into the spiritual dimension, the signal intensifies and manages to break through the noise of our daily lives. Why does this happen precisely when we're about to fall asleep? The answer is fascinating. During the day, our conscious mind is busy with thousands of thoughts, worries, tasks, and distractions. It's as if we have a wall of mental noise that blocks the more subtle signals of the universe. But when we prepare for sleep, when our mind begins to relax and enter that state of transition between wakefulness and sleep, the barriers weaken. In these moments of mental quietude, we become more receptive to higher frequencies. It's as if we adjust the volume of the material world and suddenly can hear the voices of the spiritual world. That's why it's so common for these sudden memories of loved ones to appear just before sleep, or during the early hours, when our consciousness is in that liminal state between dimensions. Dr. Rupert Sheldrake, a biologist and researcher of paranormal phenomena, has proposed the theory of morphogenetic fields, which suggests that there exists a kind of collective memory that connects all living beings. Although Sheldrake is still alive and continues his research, his studies are based on decades of previous work by scientists like physicist David Bohm, who passed away in 1992 and who believed in the existence of an implicate order where all information in the universe is interconnected. When that special person appears in your thoughts so vividly and without apparent reason, it's because their soul is sending a farewell signal. Not necessarily conscious, but energetic. It's as if, on some deep level, they know their time on this physical plane is coming to an end, and their spirit seeks to connect one last time with those who have been important in their earthly journey. This connection can manifest in different ways. Some people experience very vivid dreams with the person in question. Others feel an inexplicable presence, as if someone were in the room with them. There are those who hear music that reminds them of that person, or find objects that bring specific memories. Some even perceive characteristic aromas they associate with that dear person. Has something similar ever happened to you? Have you felt that inexplicable connection with someone just before receiving news about their departure? If so, share your experience in the comments. Your story could help others understand that they're not alone in these extraordinary experiences. What many people don't understand is that these experiences aren't limited solely to direct family bonds. Spiritual connection can exist with any person who has touched our life significantly. A teacher who inspired us, a childhood friend we lost touch with, a colleague who helped us during a difficult time, or even someone with whom we shared only a brief but memorable encounter. The soul doesn't distinguish between blood relationships and heart relationships. It only recognizes the intensity of the energetic bond created between two human beings. That's why it's possible to feel this connection with people you might not have seen as close on the physical plane, but who, on the spiritual plane, shared moments of deep resonance with you. The intensity of these experiences can also vary according to the nature of the relationship and the level of spiritual development of each person. Those who have cultivated their spiritual sensitivity through meditation, prayer, or contemplative practices tend to be more receptive to these signals. However, this doesn't mean that those who haven't consciously developed these abilities can't experience these phenomena. The soul always finds ways to communicate when necessary. It's important to understand that these experiences shouldn't generate fear or anxiety. On the contrary, they are beautiful gifts that remind us of the eternal nature of love and human connection. They're evidence that death isn't the end, but a transition to another form of existence. When someone connects with you in this way before departing, they're honoring you with a final energetic embrace, a silent but deeply meaningful farewell. Many ancestral cultures have recognized and respected these phenomena for millennia. Indigenous peoples of America speak of wind messengers who bring news of those about to depart. In Celtic tradition, it's believed that Bean Seedy or banshees are spirits that cry for those who are about to cross to the other side. In Japanese culture, there exists the concept of kotodama, the spiritual power of words and thoughts to influence physical reality. These traditions teach us something fundamental. The separation between the physical world and the spiritual world is much thinner than modern society has made us believe. We live in multiple dimensions simultaneously, and in moments of transition, especially during the death process, the barriers between these dimensions become more permeable. When you experience one of these nocturnal encounters with the memory of someone dear, you can honor that connection in several ways. First, acknowledge the experience without judging it. Don't try to rationalize it immediately or find logical explanations. Simply allow the experience to be what it is, a sacred moment of spiritual connection. Second, send love and light to that person, wherever they may be. You can do this through silent prayer, meditation, or simply maintaining loving thoughts toward them. This positive energy will travel instantly to them, providing comfort and peace in their transition. Third, remain open to the possibility of receiving more signals or messages. Sometimes, after physical departure, souls continue communicating with their loved ones through dreams, signs, or synchronicities. These subsequent communications are usually messages of love, forgiveness, or reassurance for those who remain on the physical plane. Modern science is beginning to explore these phenomena more seriously. Studies in quantum physics have shown that particles can be entangled in such a way that a change in one particle instantly affects its partner, regardless of the distance separating them. This phenomenon, known as quantum entanglement, could offer a scientific explanation for the spiritual connections we experience between human beings. Additionally, research on consciousness has revealed that our perception of time and space can be much more flexible than we believed. Some scientists propose that consciousness isn't limited to the physical brain, but can extend beyond the confines of the body, creating information fields that can influence other consciousnesses at a distance. Dr. Gary Schwartz from the University of Arizona has conducted rigorous experiments that suggest the possibility of after-death communication. Although his studies remain controversial in the traditional scientific community, The results have been consistent enough to merit serious attention. What all these investigations seem to indicate is that we live in a universe much more interconnected and mysterious than our traditional education has taught us. Connections between human beings transcend the limitations of time and space, and death doesn't break these bonds, but simply transforms them. When someone dear appears in your thoughts so suddenly and intensely, especially in those moments of quietude before sleep, your soul is responding to a call. It's as if that person were gently knocking on the door of your consciousness to say goodbye, to send you love one last time, or to assure you that, although their physical presence is about to disappear, the bond between you will remain intact forever. These experiences can also serve as opportunities to heal wounds from the past. If the person who appears in your thoughts is someone with whom you had conflicts or misunderstandings, their spiritual presence could be an invitation to mutual forgiveness. On the spiritual plane, ego differences fade away, and only the pure essence of love and understanding remains. Many people have reported that after these experiences, they feel deep peace and a sense of closure regarding relationships that remained unfinished. It's as if the soul of the departing person were offering them one last opportunity to resolve pending matters energetically, even without words or physical actions. The frequency with which you experience these phenomena may be related to your level of spiritual openness and your capacity to maintain energetic connections with others. Some people are naturally more sensitive to these signals, while others can develop this sensitivity through practice and conscious attention. If you wish to increase your receptivity to these spiritual communications, you can cultivate states of mental quietude through regular meditation. Even a few daily minutes of contemplative silence can significantly increase your capacity to perceive the universe's more subtle signals. It's also useful to keep a journal of dreams and spiritual experiences, as this will help you recognize patterns and develop greater confidence in your intuitive perceptions. It's fundamental to remember that these experiences don't necessarily predict imminent death in all cases. Sometimes they can simply be moments of spiritual connection where someone thinks of you intensely from a distance, or where their soul seeks to reconnect with you for reasons that transcend the physical. However, when these experiences are followed by news of deaths, the connection becomes undeniable. The most beautiful thing about these phenomena is that they remind us that true love is eternal. People who have touched our lives significantly never really abandon us. Their essences, their energies, their contributions to our personal growth remain with us forever. And in those special moments when conditions are right, they can let us know they're still there, still loving us, still being part of our spiritual journey. The next time something like this happens to you, don't dismiss it as a simple coincidence. Take it for what it really is, a sacred gift, a demonstration that we live in a universe of infinite love where true connections transcend all apparent barriers. Honor that experience, embrace the mystery, and allow it to remind you of the beauty and depth of the bonds we weave throughout our lives. Remember that you too can be a spiritual messenger for others. When you intensely feel someone dear, when they appear vividly in your thoughts without apparent reason, consider the possibility that your soul is trying to communicate with theirs. In those moments, send love, send light, send thoughts of peace and blessing. You never know when that person might need exactly that positive energy. There exists another fascinating aspect of these spiritual encounters that deserves our attention: the specific moment they occur within the soul's transition process. Not all sudden thoughts about distant people are related to imminent death. Some may indicate that person is going through a deep emotional crisis, serious illness, or simply a moment of great spiritual need. The transitioning soul goes through different stages before its final departure. In the days or weeks prior to physical death, the spirit begins to gradually detach from earthly attachments. During this process, it naturally seeks to connect with those who have been significant in its earthly journey. It's as if the soul were doing a life review, energetically visiting each person who has left a deep imprint on its earthly experience. Mystics and seers from various traditions have documented that the soul can travel astrally during these transition periods. While the physical body rests or is weakened, the astral body maintains extraordinary mobility. It can visit beloved places, appear in loved ones' dreams, or simply touch the consciousness of those with whom it wishes to say goodbye. This capacity of the soul to transcend physical limitations during transition moments explains why many people report similar experiences not only before deaths, but also during coma situations, complex surgeries, or altered states of consciousness. The common denominator is that consciousness finds itself in a liminal state between this world and the next. The Tibetan tradition of the Bardo Thodol, known as the Tibetan Book of the Dead, describes in detail these intermediate states of consciousness. According to this ancestral wisdom, the soul can remain in a transition state for several days after clinical death, maintaining the capacity to communicate with the living through subtle channels. But these communications aren't unidirectional. When you receive one of these spiritual touches, your soul also responds by sending energy back. A silent but deeply meaningful dialogue is established between two consciousnesses that transcends all barriers of time and space. It's an exchange of pure love, of mutual recognition, of gratitude for moments shared. Some people develop special sensitivity for these energetic exchanges. They're like spiritual antennas that can tune into multiple frequencies of universal love. These people often report frequent experiences of this type, not only with acquaintances, but even with strangers whose souls seek comfort in moments of transition. This capacity can be developed through specific practices. Regular contemplation of the impermanence of physical life helps keep the heart open to these communications. When we deeply understand that all beings are interconnected in an invisible network of love, we become more receptive to the signals that constantly flow through this network. Contemplative prayer, especially that directed toward people who have departed or are about to depart, strengthens these communication channels. It's not necessary to specifically know who needs our prayers. Simply maintaining a loving intention toward all souls in transition creates an energetic field that can be accessed by those who need it most. Spiritual masters from different traditions have taught that these encounters can also be invitations to examine our own relationship with mortality. When someone we knew visits us spiritually before departing, they're not only saying goodbye to us, but also reminding us of the transitory nature of our own physical existence. This perspective shouldn't generate anxiety, but profound gratitude for every moment we have on this plane of existence. It reminds us of the importance of living with an open heart, of expressing our love while we have the opportunity, of healing wounds while there's still time, of creating authentic connections that can transcend physical death. Many people who experience these spiritual encounters report profound changes in their way of living. They begin to value human relationships more, to pay attention to small moments of connection, to be more compassionate with others, knowing that each interaction might be the last opportunity to touch someone's soul in a positive way. This personal transformation is perhaps one of the most valuable gifts these experiences offer us. They convert us into more conscious, more loving, more present beings. They teach us that life is a fabric of sacred connections, and that each thread of this fabric is precious and irreplaceable. Modern neuroscience has begun to explore the brain mechanisms that might be involved in these experiences. Studies on the pineal gland, traditionally known as the third eye in spiritual traditions, suggest that this small structure in the brain might be responsible for our capacity to perceive more subtle dimensions of reality. During states of deep relaxation, especially before sleep, the pineal gland increases its production of melatonin and other substances that can alter our state of consciousness. In these moments, we might be more open to perceiving information that's normally filtered by our ordinary consciousness. However, it's important to remember that no scientific explanation can completely capture the depth and meaning of these spiritual experiences. They're phenomena that belong both to the realm of science and to the realm of sacred mystery. True understanding comes from direct experience, from an open heart, from the willingness to accept that we live in a universe much more mysterious and wonderful than our rational minds can encompass. Every time you experience one of these spiritual encounters, you become a living testimony to the eternal nature of love. You're proof that consciousness transcends matter, that authentic bonds can't be destroyed by death, that the universe is permeated with a loving intelligence that orchestrates these sacred encounters. If these words have resonated in your heart, if you've recognized your own experiences in this description, or if you simply wish to explore more deeply the mysteries of the spiritual world, I invite you to be part of this community of seekers. Subscribe to this channel, share your experiences in the comments, and give a like if this content has touched your soul. Together, we can continue unveiling the secrets of the universe that connects us all in an invisible network of eternal love.